There's around 50 of us online, and I'm hoping more will join as we go along. So, welcome to the Inner Space Covent Garden talk. Our talk today is exploring this concept of self-care, but specifically self-care during busy times. And let's face it, it may be Christmas and you've got friends, family coming over, or you're picking up the slack at work because a colleague is away or unwell, and you're having to pick up the slack at that point in a project. It may be that there's so many people around you that need your help at that moment, and you find yourself being spread thin. So when life is busy, it's easy to let self-care slip to the bottom of the list. Self-care isn't an indulgence. To be honest, it's an investment. It isn't selfish. It's self-respect. But why do we allow that busyness in our mind to get in the way? Why wait until we're burned out to make self-care happen? And sometimes we have no choice. It just has to happen if we want to survive another day. As the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. Nourish yourself to flourish. Then we'll find that there's more of us, more in our life, and we're able to give the world the best of us, not just what's left of us. So we've asked our speaker to explore with us the what, the why, and the how of self-care during busy times. Parul Shah works as an IT consultant and a life coach. Parul manages the Brahma Kumaris activities in Edinburgh. Parul's going to be sharing with us for the next 40 minutes or so, and after that she's going to do a guided meditation. The whole idea of a guided meditation is that it allows those ideas that have been percolating in your head to settle and become an experience. And once you've got an experience, it's something you can bring into your life. And after that, she'll take your questions. So please send in your questions via the question and answer link or via the chat, and it will be my pleasure to put those questions to Parul on your behalf. Parul, welcome. Thank you. Over to you.
Hello and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today talking about self-care and in busy times. But my question, I suppose, to Arti is, I think the world has changed and I don't see things like quiet times anymore. So I think it's busy most of the time. And so I'm going to be exploring self-care from three aspects, and self-care in terms of our mind, body, and spirit. Because if holistically we have to take care of ourselves. It is so easy, and I think all of us fall into this trap is we will want to go and help others, we will want to take care of the work, we'll want to take care of everything around us, but the last thing we give priority to is taking care of ourselves. And, I think we've all heard this so many times that when we're on a plane, what do they say when the oxygen mask comes down? First, put your own oxygen mask and then help others with their oxygen masks. And so we need to start maybe giving ourselves a little bit of self-care. And so then that cup isn't empty or doesn't become empty and then there is nothing to give. And And I'd also say is that giving, 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 and without filling ourselves is exhausting. And it's only when I'm full, when I'm in a good space, when everything feels okay, or most things feel okay, then it's so much easier to give. So let's start off with the body, with sort of talking about it from a mind, body, spirit perspective. So let's start off with the body. And I love the analogy of the body as a car. And so, when we've got a car, and for those who have a car, one of the things is we have to take care of the car. Otherwise, driving somewhere and it's going to, fail. If it fails in some or another way, then it becomes a very difficult thing. So one of the most important things, and I think it's easier these days, but I know in the past, when we just had diesel and petrol, not the green petrol, but just the diesel and the petrol, the handles were the same. And it was very easy for people to put diesel in a petrol car. All of that has changed now. So I'm just showing my age here. So can you imagine, and I know people who put diesel instead of petrol in their car, and then it's just like the whole engine seizes up. And so, what am I putting into this body? Am I putting in the right nutrition, eating the right thing, drinking the right things, making sure, everything, not overthinking it, not overdoing it, but just having a reasonably balanced meal? Just that simple thing of a reasonably balanced meal just helps with the nutritional aspects within the body, putting in the right food so that the body has the energy. Also, just going back to the analogy of the car, we need to make sure, we MOT it every year. So just looking at your body and just making sure, we get all the tests that we need to check every year done. And just that is self-care, just making that one appointment a year with the doctor or the nurse and just getting all the tests done and making sure things are okay. Self-care. But other aspects for the body, and we were just talking about walking, and I feel exercising, walking, moving the body is so important. And so, what do I do when I'm really busy and I don't have time? One of the things I try and do is I walk more. So, yes, it'll be lovely to walk and not have a phone call that I'm dealing with, but even then, it's still better to walk and talk at the same time. So many times, if I've just been in meetings most of the day, I will start walking, as in I'll go for a walk and I will, it's a meeting where I don't need to look at the screen, then I will do that. I will walk. Often I will get off a stop earlier, so I just walk that 10 minutes extra. And I know it's like, I don't think about the weather, I don't think about the rain, I don't think about the sun, I don't think about the wind. I just get out there and be in the environment, being in nature. And one of the things, especially during winter, is try and go out during the daytime and just getting a little bit of sunlight and natural light in our eyes, on ourselves. And of course, if we're covered up all day long, I would just say all of us need to have a little bit of vitamin D every day. So these are some of the basic things about the body. Making sure we have a good sleep. Um, don't don't get so exhausted and so worked up that I can't switch off a little bit and have a good sleep. So there are many things that we can do to just have a better sleep, and you will know for yourself what will help you, whether it is to switch off the phone, to switch off the television, to switch off um, other things that are influencing me, putting them all away at least 1 hour before I go to bed. I know it's a habit that we've got into, There were days when we didn't have the phone. And what did we do? We read something before we went to sleep. And so maybe try a new routine. If the current one is not allowing you to sleep well, try a new routine. Um, um, Also, other aspects of just the place where you live, maybe keep it clean, keep it tidy, have enough food and water at home so that, there is something to fall back to. It's not as if, I don't have food and I order in, or I, just eat snacks or things that are not so good for me. Making time to just make sure that the fridge or the cupboard is stored with some healthy stuff, especially fresh fruit and vegetables. All of those things go a long way to making this body feel better. So, mind, body, spirit, and so taking care of the body. I know I'm going to be busy, and so I just stock up the cupboard, have things ready. Sometimes, whenever I've cooked, if I've got something extra left, then I will freeze it for those days when it's going to be, I know there will be days when it will be so busy, I won't have time to cook. I just make sure there's something in the freezer that I can take out and eat. I'd also say, just like I said about cleaning the place where we live, maybe also have some nice pictures, maybe also have some flowers around. All of this will create an environment where when I'm exhausted and I just sit for a bit, it will all give me pleasure. So looking after the body and our environment where we live is really, really important. Simple things, making sure I wash, shower every day, maybe even first thing in the morning. I would not get out of the house without showering, bathing, cleaning our teeth, dressing a little well, and then starts us off for the day and makes us feel better. That's self-care, not getting up in the morning and thinking I don't have anything washed and ironed. A little bit of preparation, just a little bit of preparation, and the day starts off better. Okay, what about my mind? How many of us have a mind that is filled with a dozen or 100 things? And in today's world, everything takes longer, everything goes wrong, everything becomes a big thing. But I just need to understand, accept, and just go with what I can do. I have realized for myself that when I think too much about things, everything takes longer. When I let go and maybe flow with whatever is happening, things are easier. I'm not fighting mentally. We talked about the analogy of the lake just before as people were joining, but I also love the analogy of the river and the stones and the pebbles and the waterfalls within this. I was really fortunate. I spend a lot of time nowadays in Scotland, but I was really fortunate to go exploring in the Highlands with a friend early, a couple of months ago. And it was so beautiful to see all these rivers and waterfalls. And the thing that I was thinking about and again to do with us, our mind, is how our journey, as the water is flowing, there will be rocks, there will be pebbles, there will be U-turns, and there will be boulders in the river. But, stop. I tell myself, stop trying to break those rocks down. Stop trying to shove them out of the way. Just flow around. And so, when I'm busy and there's a big rock in front of me, I don't want to have to spend more energy breaking that rock down. I need to flow around it. And so what do I need? How can I do that in my mind? Is, okay, I can't do it this way. What's another option? Okay, I can't do this. Okay, give it up. No worries. I don't have to be fixated on anything. And I think this is the thing in today's world, is we become so fixated on our ideas, on how things should be, on how things shouldn't be. Whether I'm comparing myself with someone, whether I'm competing with someone, whether I am complaining about things, let me lose all of those fixations, because they become like boulders in my life. And then it's like, if I'm trying to break those down, I am the one who is suffering inside. And then it's like I'm spending my energy on something completely useless, something completely wasteful. So whatever those boulders may be, whether, like I said, fixations, I should be this way, they should be that way, things should be this way, it's okay. And especially when we're busy, it's okay. I do what I can. So just today, a couple of my friends said, yes, they're able to come for lunch tomorrow. I could become so fixated and I could say, okay, I've got to make put on a show in a sense and cook about 5 different things and make it all very nice and make it all very pretty. But do I have the time? Do I have the energy? And so it's like, whatever couple of things or 2 or 3 things that I will do, just do them well, or do them reasonably well. And it's really the love and the energy that I will put into it, the care that I will put into it, that will make it a beautiful lunch. It doesn't have to be, too much where I don't have the energy. And so it's like, I always say to myself, Parul, don't think. Another example I'll give you, and this is how what we're thinking affects our body so much. And so, of course, we have interesting people who come into our lives, people who rub us the wrong way. And I say, come here to polish us in a sense. We're going to have these things. And so in terms of my energy and taking care of myself, do I get so affected and absorbed by what they're doing that it's like they're invading my space? I'm allowing them. So it's not they are invading, but I'm allowing them to invade that space within myself. And so that for me is not self-care. It's like very practical way of looking at it for myself, and this is how I see it for myself, is, say I have created a beautiful living room in my place, and there's a coffee table, there's some papers and things on it, magazines, whatever it is, something really nice. The chairs are all around neat, maybe there's a flower vase, all of that is all neat and tidy. And then it's like 1 or 2 people come in, and in that conversation and in that company, everything moves around, and the magazines and the books and the flowers and the teacups and the stains and everything is all jumbled up and mixed up. And so by the time they go, it's like a mess inside. Now, that is on a physical thing. But imagine I am allowing within my inner space. And so this is where I'm talking about my mind. I'm allowing in my inner space that energy of other people inside. And yes, sometimes it's good, but if it's not, am I allowing that energy to completely disturb my well-being inside, so that I am consumed by their thoughts of them, their energy, how I feel about it, and then it's like I feel drained, but also I feel like it has an effect on my heart. It has an effect on my energy. It has an effect on, the inner joy and happiness I have inside. So absolutely important not to allow this kind of energies to consume our minds, thinking about our mind as a sacred space and keeping that really as I would like it to be. And so it's like when we go into a room and the energy is beautiful and we enjoy sitting there and we enjoy relaxing there, am I keeping my inner space? And beautiful that this talk has been organized by Inner Space, but am I keeping that inner space so sacred that I am so happy to spend time inside? And then, of course, when I'm really busy, because that space is sacred inside and I have that inner sacred space, it's like I'm able to be okay during busy times. You will know, and we will all have this experience of when things are okay and things are calm, we have that much extra tolerance power, we have that much extra patience. And when I am exhausted, when I am tired, when I'm not happy inside, and the slightest thing will make me lose my patience. The slightest thing will make me sort of get upset and angry and frustrated. And then, there will be that feeling of not feeling good and feeling sort of upset with myself for having allowed myself to become impatient, having allowed myself to become frustrated. And so not being so in terms of the mind, not being fixated on things, just allowing myself and others to go with the flow. It's okay. We planned this way, but life is changed, and things have changed during the day, and the plan and the flow has changed. It's okay. Not overthinking, and being light and easy. And of course, that habit of just creating that inner sanctuary within ourselves. Then, so we've talked about the body, we've talked about the mind, about the spirit. And so what is my spirit like? Is it, it's like joy, that happiness, that enthusiasm, that positivity. All of that just goes a long way when it's when times are difficult, when I'm really busy. And I always see this as, if I have stocked up, then I have that stock within me. It's not as if I'm really busy and now I'm also needing to stock myself up. So no, I need to just regularly, daily, hourly, whatever works for you, just keeping on stocking up. And so how do I stock up that positive energy that creates that beautiful spirit within, of lightness, of happiness, of joy, of enthusiasm. And this is where I'd say two things just really, really help. One is, and I think you'd all agree with me, is meditation. Yes, some people do mindfulness, and that's absolutely great, but I also like meditating. So for me, mindfulness is just watching and observing, and that is absolutely important. But on top of that is meditating. And one aspect of meditation, many aspects of meditation, but one particular aspect of meditation is focusing on good, positive, powerful thoughts about the self. And so maybe even just, I am a peaceful being. And the more I meditate on that, the more I feel that, the more I think about that, it's as if that energy of peace that is within me starts to blossom, starts to sparkle, starts to radiate. And it's all about thinking about self-care is I am just caring about that peace within, which is allowing it to grow within. And so meditating daily, and I let you decide what works for you, the timings, but I would always do it first thing in the morning and at least last thing at night, but in between too. And then feeding. So we talked about feeding our bodies and feeding the right food, but it's also feeding the spirit. And feeding is about learning something spiritual, learning and thinking about and absorbing some spiritual significance, some spiritual knowledge, some spiritual insight. And that is what I'm allowing myself to think about during the day. So, for instance, one of the things that I've been thinking about today, and I spent some time with some old friends and went to visit them, and we were talking about that, just understanding that whatever is happening is like we're watching a drama. And within the drama, and we go and see plays, we see television, we see a film, whatever we've seen, everything keeps changing. And so that spiritual insight that things change. And so when I am thinking about this spiritual insight, then I'm also thinking, well, is there a part of me that wants things to stay the same? Then, if I'm trying to control and wanting something to stay the same as it has always been, it doesn't work and it's going to bust. And so meditating and thinking about one or another spiritual insight. And when I think about the spiritual insights, it's like there is an aspect of me, in a sense, that my understanding about life opens up. And so again, going back to self-care in busy times, is when I've thought about these things in the past, and when I have sort of, in a sense, made those spiritual insights a part of my natural understanding, then in that moment, in that busy time, I'm not going to let it affect me. So another example I give you from my life, maybe 20 years ago, something would have happened and I'd be so upset and so rigid about it. And this time I noticed something similar happen, and that's okay. It's happened, can't change it. Move on. And so I am so much happier with my response. And when I'm not reacting, then I am saving my energy. And then the people around us also feel that positivity. The people around us also feel good, feel comfortable. Um, and and things, when I'm taking care of myself, automatically people around me, things around me, situations around me are so much more better, so much easier, so much lighter. And other aspects of the spirit. So we talked about being patient, tolerance, accepting myself, I accept myself in terms of the good things and maybe the things I don't like about myself too. It's okay. I always say I am a work in progress. I'm not, I don't expect myself to be perfect, but I am a work in progress. And that progress bit is the key because, and this is where one of the things, and Arti in our chat before was talking about writing, free writing, and how she had so many insights. And I would also suggest something that helps us, especially in busy times. And I know that you'd say, I'm too busy, I don't have time. 5 questions, 4 or 5 questions that I ask myself every day. And if you can, spend 2 minutes or half an hour on these questions, but do them daily for a month, and you will feel so much better. And the questions that I ask myself before I go to bed is, what, what, what did I feel about, or what excited me today? And so just thinking about every day and how beautiful it is. So what excited me today? It could be something as simple as I bought some flowers and I've arranged them nicely and they look so nice. That excited me. Second question is, what drained my energy today? Third question is, what am I grateful for today? At least 5 things that I'm grateful for today. And then the fourth question is, what might I do differently tomorrow? So no pressure, but it's just thinking about what might I do differently tomorrow. And this is real self-care, is I'm just really aware of myself, the things that excite me, the things that drain my energy, and what I could do differently about that. Try and laugh every day, something that makes us laugh, something that creates joy, something that creates humor. And it's not humor at the expense of others, but it's just, wow, okay, that was exciting, that was nice. And so another last bit I would share about, or one of the last few bits I'd share about self-care is, when we care for others and when we make time for doing some nice things for others, that really makes us feel good. Whether it's taking time out and being with people who are lonely, or people who are in need of something, and just taking a little bit of time out for them, I think it's like the reciprocation of love and care we receive from them is like self-caring too. And so every day, maybe no matter how busy it is, make a little bit of time for someone else. And whether it's cooking something, whether it's just a quick call, or whether it's a couple of messages on, your message chat and just saying, thinking of you and sending you love, I think people really appreciate that there's someone out there who's thinking of them. And it's like the energy that we send out is the energy that we receive back. And so self-care is also caring for others and making time for others. And all of these things, yes, when we're busy, if we can do one or another of those things, it will make our lives so much easier. And in terms of all of this, if I was to prioritize anything out of all of this, is not overthinking, not thinking too much. And I remember Dadi Janki, one of the things she was saying many years ago, maybe about 25, 30 years ago, and I was with her, and she was telling this group of people, don't think. And I didn't understand at that time, I really didn't. And I think I was sort of in my mind saying, why would someone not want to think? Or why is she asking them not to think? And it was then a few years later that I understood I really don't need to think. And it's all that extra thinking we do, and it's all that energy that goes into that extra thinking. So that's one thing. Really love yourself. So going back to the self-care and the meditation is really just sit there for 5 minutes, appreciate yourself, love yourself, and think nice thoughts about yourself. No one else is going to do it. And by doing that, what I'm doing is that inner sacred space within. I'm creating this beautiful energy. And then why would I want it to be intruded and influenced by thoughts of not nice thoughts of others, or why did they do this, and what if they'd done that, and why did this happen? It's okay. Don't think. They've moved on, we've moved on. Don't have to hold on to all of these thoughts. And so as part of that, just forgive. Just forgive. It's okay. I forgive them and I forgive myself. And just saying sorry, just let go. So as a last note, I just say, love yourself. Give yourself nice, beautiful thoughts every day. It's like a pill that we have to take, and keep it a very positive mindset. Everything is good and everything will be better. No matter how it looks, there will be a few years, a few weeks, a few months later, you'll see the goodness in it. So let me just say, it's all good. It's all good. So those are a few thoughts around self-care from a mind perspective, body perspective, and a spirit perspective. And if I keep on just 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, definitely when it's really busy, I'll still be able to keep my cool. So, do we have any questions or anything else?
Could we have the meditation first? Is that possible?
Yes. Okay, so let's do a meditation. And like I said, let's take a meditation where we just focus on one thought and everything around that thought. And maybe let's use this meditation time to create this, to explore this inner space, inner sacred space within us. So I'm just going to take it. So wherever you are, if you can sit comfortably, preferably with your feet on the floor, so the body is grounded. And take a deep breath in. And so let's just focus a bit on our breathing and allow our body to relax. So take a deep breath in and out. And just focus on the breathing, the air going in all the way to the bottom of our lungs and letting go of all that is no longer needed. One more time, I take a deep breath in and out. And now I take my attention to that inner space within myself. Maybe visualize a point of energy, a point of light within you, behind the eyes. And this is our sacred space within. And this is where my mind is. And just allow my thoughts to quieten down. If I find that many thoughts are coming, I just say, it's okay. Now is my time for meditation. Now is my time for myself. And I'll deal with you in a little while. And so I'm focusing on this space within this point of light, point of energy, where my mind is. And I'm seeing it as a white space within. I can create a room within or a white space, whatever works for you. And inside this space, this is where my thoughts and feelings live. And so let me generate beautiful thoughts that leave me with a beautiful feeling. And I create a thought that I love myself. I've spent some time here listening to self-care, and that is because I love myself and I care for my well-being. I care for my happiness. And so in this feeling of I love and care for myself, I create the thought that I value myself. I respect myself. I trust myself. If someone else was saying this to me, I'd feel really good. But I am saying this to myself. I love myself. I care for myself. I value myself. I respect myself. and feel the feeling that comes through. Yes, there are times I can see that I may not be that, but that's okay. I let go of those feelings where I may not have respected myself or cared for myself. I want the best for myself. And when I love myself, I want to do the right thing for myself. I want to do the right thing. Just reminding myself that I love myself. There is a feeling of peace. There is a feeling of lightness. I am free to be myself. Like a child, there is that innocence. I don't have to be something or someone. I just am. And I live in the moment, letting go of the past, just enjoying the present. And in that feeling of I love myself, everything around is a game. And so in that sacred space within, there is this beautiful energy of love, of care, of appreciation and respect. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Parul. That was both a very practical and insightful talk, but the meditation took us into that experience and made it something that empowered us. So thank you so much for today. We have a few questions that have come up. The first one is, and you talked about having an environment that was clean, that was tidy, perhaps even orderly. And the person's asking about how do you create such an environment when over a long period of time you've accumulated so much stuff and it's like clutter and you've got to a point where it's a bit overwhelming and you don't know where to start. And I think sometimes when we overthink something, we get overwhelmed too. So whether it's the physical clutter or the clutter in our mind, where do we start?
I think it's both. It's both together. And so removing the clutter from our minds and how Arti, you were sharing in our chat before, is just sitting, and as the thought comes, I just let go, and I say, I let go of this thought. In the same way, in the physical clutter, and absolutely when there is physical clutter around, it's so difficult to think, it's so difficult to be, is just slowly, just every day, just look at one little space and remove the things that are no longer needed. I really liked one of the people who do like the cleaning thing. I don't remember her name, but it's like, if I don't feel the love and joy from something, then why do I keep it? I know people who accumulate newspapers, and they have this feeling that I have to read through every newspaper that I've got, because otherwise I'm missing out. And it's like, trust, trust, trust. Whatever I need will come in front of me. I don't need to have physical things around me. Really, I don't. We recently sold our home, and we've now got a flat. And so I had to get rid of a whole lot of things. And it was just, now I feel so much lighter. It's like, okay, if there are things that I've needed and I don't have them, then I just need to go and get them from somewhere, borrow them, buy them, whatever it is. But it's like, I don't need to have something clutter around just in case. And think about, when again, that inner space, that, that everything is in its place and everything there is a use for. If it's not needed, let it go. Same here. How much do we hold on to things that happened 5 minutes ago, 1 day ago, 10 years ago? They don't serve me. Let it go. Let it go. Sometimes two kind of hand gestures I have, even physically, is like, let it go, Parul, let it go. I don't need it. And the other one is like a cross, not needed. So even I sometimes do that to just remind myself internally that I don't need to have this. So simplicity, and a clean, nice environment inside and outside where I can. I hope that helps.
There's another thing. I know that Amisha, somebody both you and I know, and many of the listeners may know her from Inner Space. She has, she's inspired me. Every week or every other week, she'll just sort out half a shelf. And I find that, and by the end of the month, everything's in order for her, and she's not even thinking about it. And I guess applying it to my mind almost, if there's something that needs resolving, let me give it that attention, particularly in a relationship with others or myself. Don't let it continue disturbed in a sense.
And
So
don't let
yeah,
it
very
fester.
interesting, because the next question, somebody's, yeah, don't let it fester. Doesn't mean you have to agree with someone. It just means that you can look at things and take charge in a way that leaves at least you comfortable. It might get
Yes.
the other person thinking, you don't know, but I am not responsible. I, I live by this rule. Let me not do anything that will cause harm. But I am also not responsible for everybody's state of mind. It's an interesting one to balance.
Absolutely. And the other aspect of that is, I am responsible for my own happiness.
Yeah, yeah,
So if they are throwing out junk, I don't have to take it in.
yeah. Yeah, I'm nobody's dustbin. Yes. Yes.
My sacred space inside is my responsibility.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing because it's not about, and the next question is interesting, because it does address a balance to this type of thinking that we're talking about. Um, what if it's sometimes better to blow off your steam by responding to those who are not pleasant to us, rather than pretending that we are okay and staying silent?
So I've got a interesting challenge at the moment, and practically, right? Interesting challenge at the moment. And there's someone, that I work with, who we clash. And so do I react? Do I blow off steam? Do I say something? And one of the things we just talked about is I am responsible for my state of happiness and my inner sanctuary within. And so I know that when I'm going to get angry or frustrated or upset, where it will start off first is in that inner sanctuary. So I am already creating that energy of frustration, of being upset within. So I am learning, I've not got there, but I am learning more and more and more not to take that in. My method is to 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 not react, to not say anything in the heat of the moment. But later on, when things are quiet, later on, when there is a moment of softness or quietness, maybe bringing it up in a way, could we try and do this differently? The other aspect is also sometimes there's a clash of egos. And so rather than reacting and being offended in a sense and then bursting out, is if there's something I want to say, maybe I just need to say it in a very tactful way and find ways around things. Now, there's a beautiful Hindi word, and I'll use it, but it will make no sense to you. It's like um, being tactful about these things. So if I've got an idea and I know they're going to react to it because they'll think it's your idea, how can I express it and say it as if it's their idea and then the work gets done? I don't have to be, I can let go of my ego and say, it's okay, let it be their idea. So it's finding ways where I'm not losing my cool, I'm staying in my own self-respect, but getting things and allowing things to be done by understanding that person is hurting too in one way or another, and they're just getting angry at me. So two things to remember: hurt people, right? So for whatever reason, that other person is hurt, and so that's why they're behaving like that to me. I can choose to get hurt and behave like that to them, or I can choose to do something differently. And I was really upset about something. And as part of the spiritual study, one of the things that I read that day and heard that day was zip. Do not say a word. And in not saying anything, not at least I'm stopping it there, becoming a big thing, but it's also not thinking about it. Just letting it go. It's okay. Today's moment will change and it will be another moment. So if I react where I've reacted, where I've, sort of said something, things have never got better. And people always hold on to that reaction more than the 100 nice things that I might have said or done. So, yes, it's harder. Yes, it takes energy. And yes, I have to be humble. I have to let go of my own arrogance and ego to just be okay. And it's okay to put myself down, but not to lose my inner state of happiness. They don't need to know. I am keeping this space safe. So yeah, never a good idea
Thank
to
you. We've got
do a burst out. Yes, carry on.
Thank you. It's at the end of the event, but may I ask one last question? And the question is, can you overdo self-care?
Yes,
I know
I
I
think
have my
you can.
opinion on it.
Yes, I can overdo self-care by sleeping too much, eating too much, um, and sort of going into a space where it's all about me, me, me. And so, yes, I can overdo self-care, and I have to be mindful that I'm not lazy or careless. So really, laziness creeps in very easily, and oh, I have to look after myself. I have to sleep for 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day. I haven't had sleep. Absolutely take care of myself, but don't overdo it. And if I see myself overdoing it, I just have to be aware. So yes, yes, it's a balance. Caring for others, caring for myself.
I guess a rule of thumb is that if you really are caring for yourself, you will automatically do that for other people, family, community, world. It won't be limited in
No,
any way. And if you're not fulfilling some area, you will feel that imbalance. And then the self-care actually becomes hurtful to
yes.
you. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then you're cutting yourself off from others because you're only focusing on yourself. And then, other things will come in like loneliness and depression and all of that because your whole focus is on internal. And we don't realize that we then go down another path that is not helpful at all. And I suppose it all becomes self-centered.
Yeah, I hadn't ever thought of it that way, that it's if I haven't got my balance of self-care and care for others correct, it will lead me to loneliness because we're living in a world where there are more people on the planet, but somehow there's more of us who are lonely, and it's an epidemic for sure. So, yeah,
And this is where the balance is. I have to give of myself to be with others, which is then not being lonely. It's being part of that community.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Parul.